Welcome back to the BookEnds YouTube channel. Today we are talking about the differences in querying newer agents versus more established agents. So for the record, this has nothing to do with age. It just has to do with how long. I feel like every time we have this conversation, I am in hot water because I
feel
always
like I
default.
was so targeted on that one.
I know it wasn't, because every time we have this conversation, I use the term older agents and I get side-eyed. So I just want to clarify newer versus more established.
And I think this is something that probably querying authors debate, right? Like this agent, like if I'm looking at two agents in an agency, this agent has this huge list and this track record, and this agent really also wants what I do, but they don't have a huge track record. What do I do? Or there are people who, well, I think there are people who always choose one over the other because they want the one with track record or because they want um the one who's newer. I don't think we're going to say one is better than the other. I think we're just going to talk about why one might be better or what the differences are. Of course, from agent to agent, that's going to vary too.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. There is no unilateral decision of which one is better. I think even on a personal level, like one person might respond better to a more established, one person might respond better to a newer, and then even in the agents that are newer, you might just respond differently, whatever. So
Yeah, and one thing to note is I look at this when I'm querying, pitching editors as well. I
right.
keep this in mind. And I guess just to jump in, one of the things I like to do is mix up my list between, I would suggest between more established agents and some newer agents. I think not just querying one demographic versus another is a good idea. But then I think there are certain books that lend themselves to one versus the other. You know, if the newer agents all tend to be a little bit younger and your book is a new adult, you might have better luck with the demographic of your book.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, also I think there's a lot to consider in that too, because there's differences not only in how long they've been an agent. Like how long you've been an agent comes with some things, right? It comes with a bigger list. It comes
Mhm.
with maybe less availability or less
Mhm.
time to spend with any particular client. So those are all things to consider when you're looking at agents is what are you looking for too? And I think that's always the place to
Mhm.
start. Are you looking for someone who is going to sort of give you the feedback that you need, put you out on sub? Are you looking for someone who's going to hold your hand? Are you looking for someone who's going to be in constant contact with you? Like those are things to consider
Mhm.
before you even start querying anytime, but especially when you're looking at, okay, there's these two agents at the same agency, who do I start with?
Right. And one thing to note too is that I think I'm just going to spitball and throw a bunch of things out here that maybe don't make any sense compared to the last thing that was said. But here we go. One thing that came to,
We're
we're a
doing
mess
great
today.
today.
I mean, to be honest, I think I did have 5 Girl Scout cookies, so my sugar levels probably really off the charts right now. Um, and they were the Do-si Do's oatmeal peanut butter sandwich cookies for anybody who's sitting there right now wanting to know which Girl Scout cookie I ate.
Oh, and for the record, I have had those before. Now that you say the name of
They're
them.
so good.
Okay.
They're my favorite.
Yeah, they are good.
They're so underrated. Anyway, um, so somebody who's been in the business longer, who's been agenting, probably has a good network of editors. That's what I would assume anyway, right? Somebody who's newer is still building that network. Both can be an advantage and a disadvantage because I think the more established you get, you do have a large network, but it's also easy, right? You have these 5 editors you always sell to. They trust everything you've been. So you can sell something, but you might not have a network of the newer editors. Somebody who's a newer agent who's still establishing themselves is constantly making those connections in a bigger way. And so they might have a wider variety of editors they're in touch with.
Yeah, but I also think that there's kind of like a little bit of exciting freedom in not having that network
Totally.
of like,
No,
yeah,
I mean that. Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Because, some more established agents are just like, I got my 5 people, we're good. But I think I mean, I'm always out there looking to meet new
Well,
editors.
that's what
It's
I was
like
gonna
I
say.
just saw on Slack a new editor popped up and I like immediately went to my sub list and like, who am I sending to this person right now?
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Like, my hope is that all agents kind of remain open, but you're right that especially as agents get further on, they have their core people, like their contacts that they know, and this would be perfect for. But it is exciting to keep mixing in new
Mhm.
folks and building your relationships there too. Um, but also on the flip side of that too, like being open to what they're wanting to work on. So open to who they're wanting to work with, but also
Mm,
what they're wanting to work on, because a
yeah.
lot of newer agents are still figuring that out too. So just like they're figuring out who are my people, who can I send this to, they're also figuring out, okay, what can I get away with, what do I want to work on, what do I like, what am I good at. And I think that that's a really great start for a lot of agents to have that freedom,
Mhm.
because you learn on the job and you're learning like, this is what I can sell to that person, this is who I can sell that to. And it kind of, they happen at the same time. It's a very concurrent process of finding your people and finding what you're good at.
I mean, the truth is I took way more chances when I was building a list and didn't have an established list and was looking to figure out what that list was going to look like in the long term. I took far more chances on books that maybe needed more work. Maybe I wanted to try to sell. Maybe I thought might only sell small, but I was going to take a risk on it. The more established I became, the larger my list became, um, the more rigid. Rigid's not the right
Also,
word.
the more in touch you are with the market, it's like
Yeah.
it's like a level of that person got a little jaded, and like I think every agent will get to that point too. Like,
Mhm.
this will just never work in the market, right? Like, there's a little bit of that bright-eyed, oh, this will totally work. This is super
Yeah.
exciting.
Which is
Um,
why younger people need to keep working in a business.
yeah,
But also, I think that your time is limited. The more clients you have, the more limited your time is, the more you spend your time differently. A newer agent's going to spend more time editing and working on those newer clients, whereas somebody who's more established is spending more time on the back end, marketing meetings, contract negotiations, sub rights deals, and things like that, and aren't doing the amount of editing they were so many years prior.
yeah. So basically, this is a video in defense of newer agents.
Well, I don't mean to do that because I think that more established agents also, I mean, definitely, I think come in with a great, that they come in with a lot of advantages too, right? I mean, the fact that you have a network of these 5 people means that if I'm taking on a project, I probably know I can pretty easily sell that to one of those 5 people.
Right.
I'm just not taking as much of a risk. I'm not taking as much of a risk with the books I'm taking on, maybe as a more established agent, because I already know exactly, I have the vision exactly lined up. I have those connections exactly set into place.
Right.
So I think that can happen too. I don't think one is better than the other. I think they're just very different. And I think sometimes authors get in their heads that if an agent doesn't have an established list or an established number of sales, it's not worth trying. And I disagree with that. But I think a more established agent is too busy to take on new clients is also a misconception that's not fair.
It really is an industry based on personal relationship. And I also think it's important to keep in mind, like, if an agent is offering representation, it's because they feel like they can. If an agent is open to queries, hopefully it's because it's something they can manage. So in a way, it's kind of like, is that person a fit for your book? Do you know anything you know about the way that person works? Would they be a fit for you? And if so, then we think you should query them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's true. I think no matter how long you've been in this business, most agents are always still looking for new clients.
Oh, I mean, you kind of have to, right? Like, the market's
Mhm.
always changing. Clients have lives, and not everybody's doing this as a full-time job. So sometimes people just go away. Sometimes you part ways with your agent or client. So we're always kind of, you get to a point where you're done building and you're kind of maintaining in a way. You're
Yeah.
maintaining a certain client list, you're helping your clients grow to a bigger level. I don't think any agent is ever done for good on signing new clients unless they're closer like to retirement.
Yeah.
But we're always kind of looking for new people.
I think so. I mean,
Also, we're
that's
like,
that's the rush. We're like
I was
sort of
gonna say,
adrenaline junkies.
yeah,
weird, nerdy book reading adrenaline junkies. We get
There's
adrenaline
nothing better than
rushes
that
from
feeling.
reading a book.
There's nothing better than that feeling of like, I'm gonna offer a rep on this. Like it's just
Oh,
that
yeah.
one moment where everything is filled with potential.
Yes.
And we don't get that often. Even when you're putting something out on submission, I feel like you don't get that same feeling as you do when you're reading something and gonna offer a rep. Because it's like, okay, it's going out. What if this person doesn't like it? And what is this right? Or is that right? Or the pitch letter. When you're gonna offer a rep, it's like,
Oh, everything.
yeah,
It's just, yeah, it's so exciting and terrifying and nerve-wracking and that never goes away. I don't think that ever goes away. That
yeah.
excitement.
So I
Oh,
guess
this
what we're
was a
saying,
totally random video that said nothing.
well, hold on. I was just gonna wrap it up because I think we got somewhere.
Okay, okay,
This
go
is
for it.
this is a messy one. Maybe we shouldn't even post it. But I think what we're saying is that there are things to consider between newer agents and more established. Like we would be lying if we said there's no differences. We'd be lying if we said that the working relationship was the same everywhere. Because it's not. But we do think that they are something to consider, but not they don't rule your decision. We do think it's worth considering both newer agents, more established agents, and agents somewhere in the middle. But it's not something that we think you should base your decision off of because it really does come down to personal fit. It does come down to that agent's vision for you, your book, your career. It also comes down to that agent's working style and how that syncs up with you. So I think I
I think
wrap
you
that
can't
up.
lose. What we're saying is you can't lose.
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully the person that you're signing with is the person that you think is the best fit for you, regardless of their experience in the industry.
Right.
But there are things to consider between those two groups.
Yeah.
So
And
I saved the day.
I think you somehow took this mess and made it into a
I
delicious stew.
I saved the day. Okay.
You
So
did. I will, yes, I will give it to you because I had too many cookies. It was nothing but messy.
yeah. So any video where we're wearing these clothes, just know a different type of energy. But
It really was
at the end
today.
of the video, if you even made it to the end of the video, we hope it was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will see you back here next week. We are done for the day.
Signing off.
Have a good one.